Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am so excited to be able to talk about N2Y's newest solution, Inspire, and just give a little insight into Inspire and the people behind it. As Becca said, I'm Kara Moe, the director of Inspire, and I've been with N2Y for about 7 years now. I've written and reviewed content in the transition, middle, and high school grade bands of ULS. I worked on classics and standard alignment, aligning the content standards from all states to our instructional targets. I work remotely from Louisiana, and before my work with N2Y, I spent approximately 23 years in public education in many different roles, teaching and coaching at the primary and middle school levels. I was a high school principal, and then at the district level, I was a supervisor. I taught a wide range of students, but mainly in the gen ed classroom, which is why even though N2Y was around while I was still in the classroom, I didn't become familiar with N2Y and its many wonderful solutions until I was a high school principal and then more closely as a supervisor. My first thought when I was introduced to Unique was, wow, the lesson plans are not only all done for you, but they are so full of great research-based strategies. And the content is broken down into small, understandable chunks that build the concept, starting with the very basic steps. It was all right there for you. And I thought back to all the many numerous hours I spent researching, prepping, gathering materials, and planning out my lessons to ensure that I was able to gain and keep my students' attention, provide for all the steps needed in a well-balanced lesson. And you know all of these, the attention getters, activating and building background knowledge, a fun and exciting way to model the new content, enough guided and independent practice to make it stick, and the closing ticket that would tell me if they got it and hopefully get them to anticipate the next lesson. All of this was in Unique, and I was just thrilled about it. I started as a fourth grade teacher of a heterogeneous group of students, teaching all subjects. Then eventually I moved to a middle school campus where I was the reading and math facilitator, but not wanting to completely get out of the classroom, and due to the LEAP high stakes state test that Louisiana had at the time, I volunteered to also teach an 8th grade math elective class for students who were, based on their previous test scores, predicted to fail the 8th grade LEAP test. I got started designing a remediation curriculum for these students based on the data from their test results. This prepping and planning for the class was some of the most challenging, but really fun work, because I did like this. I know it sounds crazy, but I do like that challenge. Once the class started, of course, just as all teachers do, I had to make many adjustments to my daily plans. It was try this, find this, try this, see what works. This works, this doesn't, go back to the drawing board. And this turned into a year-long research project to find the best practices for struggling students. I had 20 students, and out of that group, I had 4 who did not pass. And I know that 80% passing rate for students who were predicted not to pass is good, but I was still devastated for the 4 who did not pass. This experience, however, of teaching a group of all struggling students was probably one of the best experiences for me in my whole teaching career. It forced me to find and try best practices for students who have difficulties learning for a wide variety of reasons. I knew before this year, but this was the year I realized I love that challenge of finding ways to reach students who are hard to reach. I enjoy finding and trying research and evidence-based practices to help students learn. And all of this is what attracted me to the work that N2Y does. The opportunity to develop a curriculum for struggling students that would help teachers across the country was pretty much like a dream for me. I have had the pleasure of working with a wonderful, knowledgeable, dedicated, and extremely passionate team over the past almost 2 years to develop and bring Inspire to life. Inspire is a new solution, and actually it just launched October 1st, which is a little over a week ago. It is N2Y's solution for struggling students in the general education population. Inspire's perfect for students who need targeted skill instruction or intervention Those students may be seated in, it could be those students in receiving resource services, students in tiers 2 and 3 of RTI, MTSS, or really any student who may need support to meet the general education standards. We designed modules based on general education standards and the skills needed to meet those standards. We grouped modules together into courses. The modules can be used individually for targeted research-based instruction, or the modules within a course can be followed sequentially. Each course has a pre and post assessment. The assessments are prescriptive and can be used to pinpoint the needed module or modules within the course. And each module has a pre and post assessment, which include prerequisite items so it can determine whether or not a student needs instruction in this module, and/or it can recommend a prerequisite module. The great part about all of our assessments is that they are differentiated and also provide information on the level of support that would be best for the student. And of course, Inspire's instruction, guided practice, independent practice items are differentiated too. Inspire's lesson plans have pretty much everything needed to help teachers guide students from setting the stage and building background through modeling, multiple practice items, and closure of a research-based lesson. One of the most exciting components, to me anyway, of Inspire is the gamified warm-up activities. Students get to activate their prior knowledge through a fun and highly motivating game experience. This will definitely get students excited and ready to learn the many strategies that are explicitly detailed in the lesson plans. We built in the step-by-step processes to help teachers guide students from the I do and we do to you do successfully. So Inspire is not just another intervention program that puts students working at the computer alone. It is an online intervention program that empowers educators to work with students so they can be successful on their own. Inspire also provides all of the needed data and reports to track student progress and growth, to demonstrate RTI effectiveness, and to drive further instruction. It has been 2 years in the making, and it brought me back to that year I talked about and so many other years spent finding best practices. But this time, with Inspire, I was able to work with a team of experienced, passionate educators, production specialists, and numerous online education experts. I just can't say enough about all of the wonderful people who have had a role in the development of Inspire. And I couldn't be prouder and more excited about the final product. I look forward to hearing from you once you have had the opportunity to experience Inspire. And best wishes to all of you this year, and thank you for the work you do every day to grow your students and for taking time of your busy schedule to be with us today. Have a great evening.